is what happened!
Dude, here's what happened. Episode number 8. 8 of them. We're doing it. Yeah, I didn't do one last week. Sue me. All right. I had extenuating circumstances. I don't remember what they are because I have ADHD and I don't remember anything ever. It's a problem. But we didn't do one. But I got Chris Pace with me today, and you're going to find out exactly who he is, because you might be asking yourself, who is Chris Pace? And you're going to feel real dumb in a little bit that you don't already know him.
Oh, that's very generous.
So say something about yourself, Chris.
Oh, my name.
Great. Okay, I'll take it from there.
Perfect. Go ahead.
So, what have you been up to lately, Chris?
Oh my gosh, I've been hitting mics, doing my best that I can to work between the day job and then getting better at this thing we call comedy, writing jokes. Trying to be good at it. I don't know. Getting there.
Yeah. Well,
we're getting there. I don't know.
No, Chris is great.
It's a tough feeling because I've been out of it for a second, but getting back up and then you're like, oh, this is going to be a great joke. And then it's crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, all right, I don't know if that's just not funny or is it just comics who don't want to laugh? What is that?
It's hard saying.
What is not getting a comic laugh? What is with some places people just...
So I think it's a couple things. I think, one, I take in so much comedy all the time. That's the podcasts I listen to, the shows that I watch. Everything is like somehow most of the time tied to stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for me to actually like laugh out loud at something. But it doesn't mean I don't think it's funny. Sometimes I'll be like at an open mic or something. I try to like not fake laugh, but like if I think something's funny, I'll like I'll be like, try to keep it at the top of mind to be like, okay, that's funny. I should laugh, not just be like, because that's what I do a lot.
It's like at a concert, like the guys at like a metal concert just stand in the back with their arms crossed. They're like, that was a great concert. I loved it, actually.
Well, you're having a lot of fun, huh? Okay.
I'm really bad at professional shows. And I'm saying, like, you know, if you name a comedian, like, you know, Segura's and people, I will go and see them. And you would have thought I didn't have a great time at all. But I'm like, nailed it. I loved each of those jokes. Yeah. It's like I'm taking it in a whole different thought process.
So yeah, I think sometimes I'm in the zone, and I think a lot of times when I'm watching my friends, I'm like analyzing it, and I'm trying to figure out where they're going with it, and be like, and so like in my brain I might be like, that's a good joke, but I'm not. So I'm like in my head, I'm not laughing outwardly, but then some stuff is just so funny that you can't like. Like I went and saw Shane Gillis in Chicago, and my girlfriend's like, I've never seen you laugh like that. I was like having trouble breathing. Like his delivery is so like next level that like he can do an act out without like acting out at all. Like he can be talking about an inanimate object, and he'd be like, that light post is just staying over there, just kind of like. And it's hilarious for some reason. You know what I mean? Like,
I think there's a level to it of people always want to emulate what I think some people just kind of have, which isn't just like, do you have that X factor or not? But I think it's so hard to just be a storyteller and not in like here's me bragging about it. But there are some guys or some women too, some just comedians who have always been, whether or not it's locker rooms or in Xbox lobbies or whatever it is like, you've been funny and maybe not known it, but it's because you're so good at just communicating. I mean, that's what it is, right? It's your ability to just
I think so.
Put someone there.
Some people are just really naturally talented at being funny.
Yeah.
Like there's some people that like they'll start at comedy, and it's like they have all the like the downfalls of like beginning comedy. Like you didn't go far enough in on this. You left a lot of meat on the bone with that premise or whatever. Like you could develop that into 10 minutes instead of 5 or whatever. But they're just like hilarious because they have like a natural charisma. And that's something, unfortunately, I don't think can be taught or learned. But it doesn't mean that like everybody needs to have that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think, and I mean, not that I've only been doing this, almost a year and a half now. But I'm black. I mean, in my day job, I'm a lawyer, so I get to communicate and tell stories, and like that's what I was doing from the get-go.
Yeah.
But now I just get to actually be funny on purpose and not like accidentally make a jury laugh. Like now it's like my goal. But I think people like don't, and we've had this conversation before, think about like what in the joke is actually funny.
Yeah.
Like what is, okay, I tell this story, and every time, if it's at a cookout, if it's at the bar, if it's at a football game, every time I tell this story, it kills. Is it just because it's a funny story, or what is the funny thing about, I sat in a lawn chair and I heard it creak, and I knew if I got up it was going to collapse, so I sat there for 3 hours. You're like, the funny thing is the awkwardness of like the do or die situation. How can I make that bigger?
And then beyond that, I think you have to make the most of your time. So like if you're just starting out, you're going up at an open mic, you're going to have 3 to 5 minutes tops. And so like if you're a storytelling comic, like a lot of my stuff is stories. But I've gotten pretty good at, I saw someone critiqued on this once where they were like, that's a funny joke. I don't remember what the joke was. They're like, it's a funny joke. You spent a lot of time setting it up. You got to find a way to get from point A to point B faster, because like the laughs per minute has to be more.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I've gotten pretty good at what details need to be in there for the setup and leaving out some of the other stuff. Like sometimes, and it depends on the story, because sometimes you want to have a lot of your inner monologue included because that's what makes it funny. And other times you're like, I don't need to be like, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's just that you just took up, 10 seconds.
I think it's where that locker room energy, where that like around your buddies energy comes back around like the boomerang of, that's how you tell stories when you're just talking to people and no one's going to wave a light in your face.
Yep.
You got to like trim the fat of what actually is funny and why is it funny, or maybe it's not actually that funny of a story. It just got your laughs at the time because you are telling it in a way that makes it funny. So then, say, I don't know. It's so, I think it's so cool to see new comics and see how their energy is different, and to see how someone tells a joke. And I've found it rewarding to not only myself grow, but to watch others get better week after week, month after month, because they found what their thing is.
And I feel like that's one of the things that separates someone like you from someone who's maybe starting out that's not doing great. Like, so you're at about a year and a half, right? You're featuring on Friday.
Sure am.
So like that's
for a really funny guy.
Pretty quick development to go from open micer to feature in a year and a half. And I think what you were saying there is one of the things that separates someone that's on your trajectory from someone else who's just like starting off and maybe they're having some trouble getting their feet underneath them and stuff, is that comedy does not have to be competitive. Sure, you can enter a competition or whatever, that's fine. But like, there's so many people I've heard, I think it was Rogan saying this, and I'm not sure if it's original to him or not, but like, too many comics operate out of a mindset of scarcity when they should be operating out of a mindset of abundance. So like, too many, especially at the open mic, like starting out level, like the tendency for some people, for some reason, is that even if you're best friends with one of these people that's getting an opportunity before you, you're like, when really your thought process should be like, that's awesome. Because like, we were coming up at the same time, like he's getting that opportunity or she's getting that opportunity. What opportunity might I be getting? Like, what should I be looking for? Or maybe I should push myself a little bit harder to write more, or to develop this more, or to dig into this or dig into that or whatever. And it doesn't have to be a competition like who's going to win the comedy game. More of like, you can have friendly competition where it's like, oh, he's got a new 5 tonight. And it's crushing. Man, I need to get back in my little writing groove and come up with some new stuff, because I'm still pushing the old 5 minutes. And maybe that 5 minutes is awesome. And if it is awesome, then it is probably time to move on to the next thing, because like, obviously I'm not there yet to where I'm like putting out a special, but like when you do, hopefully get to the point to where you put out a special, which is so much more doable now for people
Oh yeah.
in comedy than it was before, where it's not like, hopefully HBO will pick me up, or hopefully Comedy Central will put me up, or whatever, or even Netflix. It's like you can produce it and put it on a YouTube channel, and you never know like what it's going to do. But if you put out a special and then you're doing shows after that, when people will have seen your special,
oh yeah,
they're not going to want to hear the same jokes that they just watched in the special. They go, oh, this guy's cool, this guy's funny, this guy's good, I want to go and see him, but I don't want to see him tell the same jokes, which people have talked about this forever, so I don't need to get too much into it. But like the difference between like a musician and a comedian, where it's like, if you're a musician, you could play your hits for the rest of your life and people are going to be like, yeah. But if you're a comedian you play your hits, they're going to be like, this again. Yeah, I've heard this joke once already.
But that also makes it so it's I can see this comedian one time. So you almost price yourself out if that's what you're going to be doing. Yep. You're then saying, what's the incentive to come to another show? So it's hard, but it's so hard when you're, to your point of the competition aspect to it. Like it's hard to not look at someone else's plate and think, well, I think I'm as good. Why am I also not getting that? Yeah. And I think what's helped me is looking and seeing what they're doing. What other mics are they hitting? Who do they know?
Exactly.
And not from like a who do they know here perspective, but like, well, who are they shaking hands with? Who are they meeting to help open those doors?
And ask them.
Yeah.
Like, so how'd you get that?
Yeah.
Because trust me, they want to tell people.
Oh my gosh.
If they get it, it's something cool, they want to tell you. No one talks
more than a successful comedian.
Yeah. I mean,
just started. They will tell everyone and anything about anything they're doing. But I think we're pretty lucky with who we got in the scene right now, all things considered. And I mean,
yeah, I think so.
We got a couple people blown up, but
so
moving from that. Yeah.
Back to what you were saying about like, why is it so hard to get a laugh from a comic? I think sometimes it's that they're just like thinking, and maybe they're trying to follow through the joke, or they're trying to guess where you're going, or like, one of my favorite things to do is help people write jokes.
Yeah.
And I always try to be like, hey, listen, that's a great joke, and I'm not trying to tell you that it's not as good as it could be or anything like that. I just thought this is kind of funny that has to do with that. Do with that what you want. And it's like, or if someone's like, hey, can you help me? I'm trying to find the punchline for this. That's like one of my favorite things to do, to sit down and just be like, okay, all right. But so maybe they're doing that. The other reason why it's hard to get a laugh from a comic, aside from they came up with you, they've been around you forever, they know all your jokes already, is they're haters. And that's unfortunate, but it's real. Like I just did a show, or not even a show, it's like it's an open mic, but it's a little different. Like they do book some stuff, and I'm not going to say who it is or where it was, because the people that run the show are awesome, and I don't want it to seem like I'm saying anything bad about that show at all. But me and another comedian both have Trump impressions. We were going to do, we were going to do Trump and Trump, which we've done before, and don't tell anybody, but that's happening on Friday too.
Whoa!
And but there was,
I got to work on my impression.
Yeah, there was a couple of comedians there that were bent out of shape, that we were getting more stage time doing something else, and they were literally screaming and booing to start it, because that like, and the host had to go and say like, go outside. And he was livid. Like I said, I would never say anything bad about these guys. Are great that run the show. And, but they were like, that's like, why would you do that? You know? And it's just one of those things where it's like, they, for whatever reason, those guys did not like us personally or whatever. And so they felt like they need, but then the unfortunate side effect of that is the rest of the crowd tightens up, and they go,
are we allowed to laugh at this? And they're totally,
the good thing is I'm usually in the zone on stage, I don't really notice a whole lot
Yeah, you're pretty good at
with
not
like heckling and
registering,
stuff. A lot of times I'll just power through. That's what I was doing. I didn't even. I thought that there was booze because they said Trump, and that's a
Bottle,
topic that's
yeah.
pretty, it'll get people going one way or another. And so I was just like, whatever. And so I'm launching into it, and I had no idea that I was accidentally like dissing the people that were booing,
Yeah.
and and probably making them madder. And I'm like, we love saying quiet piggy. Do you remember quiet piggy? And everyone's like, and I'm like, I don't like quiet piggy, whatever. And then after the fact, I realized what happened. I'm like, oh, that's actually hilarious now that I watched it back. But it didn't end up working out.
The spirit of Trump actually possessed you on that one.
We'll edit that out. That was that's my Adderall alarm.
I think you keep it on, actually.
I'm overdue for my evening medication.
Oh, is there we can always move off comedy too, because there's enough to talk about between the two of us. But what is your joke that you wish worked that just hasn't been able to figure out, that you think is just a lost cause? Do you have one where you're like, this is gonna kill, and then it?
That's a good question, because I've had a lot of those.
Yeah,
but it's like there's so much bouncing around inside my head all the time that once I write off a joke, I have no idea what it was. And that's the unfortunate thing. Like with jokes I want to do, sometimes I have that problem. I'm like, what was that? And then with stuff that I'm like, it's just not working. I've already forgotten that I ever made it up or said it or anything like that. What's yours?
Mine is, and there might be videos still on my Instagram. Maybe when I did it, I think it was my first open mic. And it was a joke I did for a couple times. Or it's in my archive. The premise is that Saw can't be made currently because Gen Z has a tendency that would just not do anything to them. But the threat of harm would mean nothing. And I thought it did so well at the first open mic, and I could never really work it in the right kind of fitting to the timing. And so maybe I'll revisit it, but I have not done it probably in a year.
It's not a bad premise.
It was just, it became almost too niche to you had to I guess there's another commentary on like some people's humor is you have to understand the reference and the thing that you're referencing to then get the joke within that reference. Yeah. And I think it was one of those where like I run into trouble when I do some of my sports jokes if I'm not in a sports centered location where I gotta either change my premise or I have to change to a local team that they would understand. Yeah. But then the joke kind of falls apart for what you know what I do, but
and that's
that's an adjustment you got to make where you're at.
And when you're talking about pro sports, I think you can get away with it pretty much but like if you go a little deeper, like you're talking like a minor league team or something like that, and you're even just like we're in Ohio, we're actually in beautiful Akron, Ohio,
Rubber Ducks.
Now, if you couldn't tell by the sounds of
the mufflers and the sick birds.
There's a box spring in the parking lot over there.
Again, we could talk about it. I used to work where we're at for all high school and college.
We're in front of a movie theater. That
was a movie theater.
That's probably, it might be there might be people squatting in there at this point.
There's a segue from the box spring. A couple of things have happened. I think in this exact parking spot, I had to change my headlight to one of my first cars I owned. And I just was doing that on my own, and I had my gloves on and whatever. I was in my uniform, and my manager thought I was the most handy person after that because he was like, "You just opened up your hood," and I'm like, "It's because I'm poor and I'm in high school." Yeah. That's why I had to change my headlight, or I was getting pulled over again.
Yeah, I can't afford a guy for that. Yeah, no. I've already been pulled over 3 times.
I also, again, I worked here for so long, and at one point, I was the only person who wasn't a manager that was 18. Because I would come here after college, so they would always enjoy when I came back, because that meant I could do some stuff as far as check certain theaters and sell tickets and whatever it was. One time they're like, "Hey Chris, we need you." I'm like, "What's going on?" And they said there is a backpack that was left at the front of the theater, And I was like, okay, you want me to just go grab it? They're like, we think it might be a bomb. I was like, what do you want me to do about it?
That.
They gave me a broom handle and they said, can you go get it? So I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, we don't want to call the bomb squad because that goes against our insurance. So I went as an 18-year-old in, I think, theater 3, and I poked it with a stick, and it was fine. Some guy just forgot his, but that was the kind of operation we were running. They sent me with a broom handle and a prayer.
Which makes so much sense because they're like, listen, if we call the bomb squad, that's going to ding us on our insurance.
Yeah.
Now, if an 18-year-old explodes, that's going to do nothing to our insurance
No,
policy.
this is another day.
They're like, we're in Akron. We're going to put that, we're going to dispose of that mess in the dumpster. We're not saying anything to anybody.
There's a trash compactor back there. I would have gone right in with the popcorn buckets.
Oh, my gosh. But
good times.
So anyway, like when we're in Ohio. And so like, obviously we know the sports teams around here and stuff, but then say you even just go like into Indiana and you're like, yeah, the Akron Rubber Ducks. And they're like, what did you just say? And it's like, oh yeah, well, I didn't even think about, or any kind of local reference. Like you got to check like restaurants and stuff like that to be like, is this an Ohio thing? Or like, is this anywhere else? Does anywhere else call potato wedges JoJo's?
Yeah.
I found that out when I was little. Because, I'm from like north central Ohio-ish originally. And, I lived in Vermilion when I was a little kid. Everyone calls them JoJo's there. I moved out to Illinois, in southern Illinois. You tell somebody that you want JoJo's, they go, what?
They're like Siwa?
What? Yeah. What is that? And then they're like, oh, you're talking about wedges. I'm like, wedges? And sometimes they even call them wedgies. I'm like, no, I don't. I want JoJo's. How about that?
That's pop and soda for me. I am East Coast. That's where I was born. That's where a lot of my family is. And everyone who calls it a pop, it sometimes still throws me for a loop. It is soda through and through. What's another? Yeah, that regional stuff is really tough.
Yeah.
Like especially when again it's the references within references. You get some people who come, and again we can talk about open micers because it's the most prevalent thing of referencing something local. Either it's a local high school or it's something going on. They're like, oh, this high school just had a football game. And unless you're in like a football town where they know high school sports, you're gonna go nowhere real quick with that joke.
Yeah.
Like it's a risk sometimes doing the Browns if you're not in front of a sports crowd. Like, people don't. Yeah. Luckily, they are so bad that it perpetuates and goes beyond fandom. It definitely helps, but man, it's tough. And it's like, I think that's a skill set in its own. And I reference my day job. Like I got to foster that every day and build it of reading someone's feelings on the fly and being like, oh, I got to pivot. Yep. And that's such a comedy skill of immediately be able to clock if a crowd's not feeling your joke. And instead of going in for another 3 or 5 minutes to get buy-in, you just pivot and go to something else.
And that's something that you and I have in common is like a background in public speaking, which is one of the toughest things for a lot of up and coming comics to overcome is like, oh man, I got to go talk in front of people. Like I was a youth pastor for 11 years and I played drums live for 21 years. So like being in front of people does not bother me at all. And like in the slight, like I love the attention, which is kind of a problem sometimes, but in comedy it's not. And so like I would see people that were really good and they're like standing backstage and they're like, okay, I got this. I'm like, what are you talking, dude? Just go and do the thing. And they're like, I know. I get nervous, and it's just like it's different for me because like the nervousness isn't a thing, but like, I might be pacing around trying to remember which order I'm going to put the set in or whatever, depending on like, it was a completely different animal when I went from doing 5-minute guest spots and 10-minute guest spots to doing 20 to 25 as a feature. You're like, oh, there's a lot more to keep in order in my head here. And then when I started headlining and doing like an hour, I had to start like making a set list, just like, I'll be able to categorize like 5-minute sets and I'll just bop
I do it the same way.
onto a set list, and I'll just like before the show I'll go and put it like tape it to the stage floor or whatever, and I just have it there as like a comfort thing where I can be like, okay, making sure I didn't skip anything.
I'm the same way. I go up without a notebook or my phone. It's just a comfort thing for me, public speaking wise. But sometimes you're like, man, I really wanted to do that joke tonight. And you're like, oh, I just got into a flow state because I saw their reactions and.
But
it's gone.
The nice thing about that is what you just said is going into a flow state where I don't know about you, but like I record every single set that I do, and I go back and I watch every single set that I do. And I know that's a problem for some people, like even like high level guys are like, man, I hate watching myself. Like, oh, it's so cringy or whatever. It's like, I've always loved
I listen to my set.
I always loved making funny videos and stuff. Like that's why like the social media thing was so cool for me that it started taking off, because like I was doing this regardless if anybody was watching. Like as soon as
still be doing Trump impressions no matter what.
As soon as I had access to a video camera, I was making stupid videos, and I was like pausing the VHS and then like moving positions and then go back starting it. Like I just like doing that, and then I enjoy watching it back or showing it to my friends or whatever. And so I watch every single set, and then a lot of times I notice, oh, I forgot something there, but you know what? Actually works better without that in it. Or, man, I was feeling it, and I threw in this tag, and it was hilarious, and it worked great. And I never would have remembered it had I not gone back through and looked at it.
Yeah, those random ones that aren't written that you just on the fly think of. Like, I feel like it happens every time. Whenever I have I don't call it a heckle mic, but a night where people are, not the crowd isn't feeling the mic or how it's going already, and you're fourth or fifth one up, and everyone high fives you when you're coming off, and they're like, oh, that's a rough one. And I just decide to go crowd work or something for the one in the blue moon. And it kills. And I'm like, oh, this was such a low night. I wasn't even thinking to film it. So I've had to get in that habit of even if, record even the duds, because you want to get the highlights and the low lights so you can reflect on everything. I mean,
and seeing
every time.
Seeing where your brain went with that when it wasn't working, so that you can take note of that. And then, okay, if it doesn't work again, this worked.
Yeah.
And I think a trick that I have learned along the way that works, if something doesn't land the way you want it to, I do like two things. One, I don't write anything down. So even when I'm writing, I'm not writing it down. And I know this isn't for everybody to do, because some people, like my dad is a pastor, and he will preach a sermon that's like a half an hour long. He writes every single word of it down. I can't do that. I'll get lost in the notes and stuff like that. And I don't consider jokes completely written by anyone, really.
Yeah.
Unless they're memorized. So I'm like, I'm just going to memorize it as I write it. And then you kind of, by doing that, you're repetitive with it. So you're actually punching it up before you're even getting to the stage. And then you're comfortable with it. So like you have the ability to adjust on the fly. So like if I'm coming up to a big punch and I'm not sure if it's going to hit or not, I have the next line like at the tip of my tongue. So if I'm like, and I was like, whose groceries are these? And people aren't laughing, I'm not like, wait, I can go straight into, I'm like, whose groceries are these? And somebody said, and then that way they're not like, ooh, he was waiting for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's palpable when someone expects a laugh and then it doesn't like hit at all, and then they're just kind of like stuck with it. How do you feel about? I am not a self-recognizer. I am not a joke doesn't hit and be like, oh, I thought that was a good one, or I don't
work. I thought that was good or whatever, but I do think that a lot of times it helps to get them back if you admit that it was not good.
Yeah.
So like, if I say something and it doesn't land like at all, and there's no covering up the fact that it didn't land, I'll just like look at them for a little bit and I'll be like, okay. And like, and usually the okay gets them or whatever. Or I'll make a stupid like throwaway comment, like say, we'll go back to because I'm pulling it out of my butt. Whose groceries are these? Yeah. and then
You
everyone
got a real
just
joke here coming.
everyone just looks at you, and you're like, guys, you guys ever buy groceries?
It saves it.
Or like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
I
not a
like-
big grocery crowd
I
tonight, huh?
change my tone because I'm not a very hostile comedian, and I'm not very like, but I at times, if it hasn't hit, I've turned into the like, okay, it's gonna be that kind of night, huh? I'm like, all right, you know what? I got 5 minutes. I'd start burring the, his Philly rant. I start turning into, I got 3 minutes. It can be jokes or it can just be us staring at each other. Your choice. And that's people. Then getting the receptive of that, being like, I can go person by person, or we can do the rest of my material.
And then there's some performances I've done where it was not optimal for comedy or whatever. Like, all my stuff is clean. All my stuff, I can do the same jokes that I do at a bar show, in a theater. I can do them in, a comedy club, and I can do them at a church, and I don't have to change it. And I wrote them that way on purpose, and they work all those different places. But sometimes you're in a setting that's just not optimal for comedy. Like, I got tapped to do a men's prayer breakfast once on a Saturday morning.
Is that a Men's Warehouse?
It was at a church.
Okay.
It was early in the morning, and they were eating breakfast, and it was all men.
Attention.
And let me tell you something: an all male crowd is not great for doing comedy. It's just, they're I think it's like a subconscious thing that if a dude is on stage being funny or whatever, at least some of those guys are gonna be like, oh, this guy thinks he's funnier than me, huh? Well, we'll see. Make me laugh, funny man.
Yep.
Or, just the fact that it's Saturday. A lot of people say don't do comedy before the sun goes down. I agree with that, but there's sometimes they've offered to pay you or whatever. You're like,
you gotta do.
Whatever, I'll go bomb for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And I think outside is pretty bad usually too. But unless you're like doing a stadium or something like that, because you're a big deal. But sometimes it's just not, and you just have to own it and be like, they're not going to laugh. And you can see sometimes it's like, they're not having a terrible time. They're just not showing outwardly. And you just go through your whole set, and you don't let it bother you, and you don't let it mess with you, and you don't go like, man, or you just go through it and you get it done, and it's done and it's over. They pay you, and then usually all those people that didn't laugh at you come up and they're like, hey, man, that was great. And you're like,
you just put me through the worst 45 minutes of my life.
Thanks a lot for waiting until the end to tell me.
You want to hear something worse, and this is a segue from comedy as far as what you're saying of wrong place, wrong time, not a good idea. I was at a professional breakfast lunch. There were a couple people who might watch this that know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was this whole presentation. It took place during a breakfast. And then for whatever reason, someone decided to put on, do you remember Liberty Kids? It was I think it was a CW Kids or WB Kids era show.
Yikes.
It had like an all-star cast of, like, for whatever reason, like it wasn't Kevin Costner, but it was these people where if you went through the IMDb, you'd be like, what? And it was an animated show about the founding of America. Again, look it up. Liberty Kids. Well, regardless, they put on Liberty Kids in a room full of adults, like other lawyers, judges, and it was in a fully lit ballroom while we were eating breakfast. And everyone's like, why is this playing? I heard someone come up and whisper and be like, no one's watching.
Yeah, what are we doing?
And I'm like, someone thought they're like, they're going to eat this up. And that, what you just described is exactly that level of, oh, no one's paying attention to this thing.
Yeah.
It's bad. It was bad. I laughed.
Yeah, it's tough. And so I don't know. I think it's just sometimes you got to take it on the chin. It is what it is. There are times where you are going to die slowly on stage. Oh, yeah. And no one's going to tell you that it was good. And you just have to go on to the next one.
It's bad, though, when people are like, it's tough up there. Yeah. Tough night. Hey, you get them. Hey,
the host comes back up. Try. It's not as easy as it looks,
That's
folks.
Devastating.
Don't.
Yeah, that's devastating.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I've talked about my worst bomb on here before. which was absolutely devastating to me, to the point to where it was my second time and I didn't touch it again for 3 years because it stung so bad. What is your worst bomb today?
Oh gosh, probably you know where I'm referring to. I had one of those early Indianapolis shows, and I went up and I opened with, at that point I was opening with my Cleveland stuff, and it was the 6 people who showed up were just stone cold not into it. Our host had gotten into a fight with one of the audience members prior, so the tension was I don't think I got a laugh that entire time. I think I got a and a
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Now the headliner was who was offered to work with me again and said he did a wonderful job. They were good jokes, but that was a rough 10 that I had to do. It was just 10 at that point. Or it was 7 or 10. It wasn't even that, but I was rushing to get off stage. It was silence in that room.
Well, and I think that sometimes there's a situation like that where it's, someone has made it awkward before you go up and you're like, thanks, dude. Why did you do that? Now everyone's mad. Or someone in front of you bombs their butt off and you're like, I gotta dig these people up out of the depression that they're in. Everyone's like, wow,
those are what I like the most.
Watching
the rescue missions are where I can get the energy up and thrive.
Yeah.
But this was it was probably my first, maybe my second invited show where someone said, hey, come out to this location and open for a professional, which was honored to do, and it was a great experience. But no, that was humbling. I went the entire car ride. I worked on everything that I had just done and said, I got to punch this up and make this way better. I did a contest in front of an entirely black audience, which that was also not humbling, but a whole different eye-opening. I didn't quite bomb, but it definitely was adjusting to the scene, which is interesting. Is I feel like that's talked about enough, but also maybe not appreciated. The difference in styles of comedy, and it was the first time I had to really face the got it. And I'm lucky I got a
so someone
to me, but
someone whose style has blown me away from day one is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dave Chappelle, who I will be going to see at Rocket Arena next Tuesday.
Phenomenal.
What do you know about that? Which, by the way, he announced those tickets last Wednesday.
Sold out.
The show is next Tuesday. So he's just like, I'm going to do an arena. Give me a week and a half. And the tickets were just disappearing it's like, man, but I mean, he started comedy when he was 14, I think.
He's been doing it
and he's like 51, 52 now. So it's like,
and he went off to Africa, stopped entirely.
But the dude,
back, nothing changed.
I've heard stories when he was in DC, sometimes he would just go out to the park with a speaker and just do stand up to people that were walking by.
Yeah.
But his delivery is so crazy. So, and I've heard people criticize it, and I feel like it's like, okay, listen, if you come at the king, you best not miss. But he will just you'll think that he's completely forgotten that he's doing comedy, and he's just bringing up something that he saw the other day. And then out of nowhere just comes this punchline that ties everything from the last 5 minutes back together. And it's like a callback at the same time. You're like,
how does it a callback that far?
I don't, how does, so I'm very excited about
what
that.
Is his was it the 3 times he met, was it OJ? Who was it that he met?
I don't know.
And throughout the set, he goes, that was the first time I met OJ Simpson.
Yeah.
And then he'll go another 45 minutes, but this is the second time I met OJ Simpson. So he does, and I think people, I forget who I had a conversation with this about, the gesturing is so important, and you don't even notice as an audience member. And it's what, to your point, what I think Gillis does so well too, where his it's a cue to laugh, it's a cue to the bit. Chappelle is so good with the banging of the mic on his knee or the buttoning of his shirt, where something's coming and it's associated with the gesture. So he's cued you up, so he can either go straight in or he can misdirect from that moment. If he adjusts and then doesn't say something swarmy and he doesn't say something like funny, it still is a joke in itself because you were ready for it. You know, if he doesn't take a pull of the cigarette and then say something profound, but he says something off the wall, it is now amplified because you were expecting a left and he went right.
And the misdirect is such an underappreciated art form, I feel like, or underestimated art form even, where like a misdirect can be so funny, but if you're not careful, everyone sees the misdirect coming.
Yeah.
Where, you know, because like everybody has
that is my entire act. If you go through my jokes log for log, my sense of humor and how I write is misdirection. I think the funniest thing to do is take someone's expectations and then turn it.
Yeah.
And I prefer if I hear in the audience a couple people already got it, because then I know I'm going to get a laugh when it pops, because that means someone saw my fastball, and that's cool for me to see that someone that, okay, it's understood where I'm going. If you are paying it, if you're listening,
it's fun to hit them with something that's completely out of left field. You know, like but for a while, like nobody knew that I had like a Trump impression. Or whatever. So when I could just, you know, like the first time I tried that in comedy, I'm like, you know, you guys remember when Trump started getting fined all that money and he was just kind of like belligerent and almost rude about it?
I think I was there that first night we did it and we were floored.
And like, that's my body every time I lose weight, you know. I'm like, hey, buddy, I lost 50 pounds. What do you think about that? And it's just like, quite frankly, I don't really care, fatty. There's a lot more where that came from. And they're like, oh, wow, I didn't. But then I just would go even further and just start rambling, like, you know, like a lot of people are saying I'm the greatest walker. You should try walking. I'm greater than Walker, Texas Ranger. That's what people are saying all the time. Don't take it from me. Take it from the bull. We got great bowling numbers. And you can
throwing a Paul Walker in there.
Then Walker, Texas Ranger dies. Or Chuck Norris dies. Yeah. I'm like, I think that's what killed him. He was trying to be a better walker than me, and it killed him. He's old, you know. He can't be.
So, did you have to practice this impression, or did you just figure it out one day? Oh, I can do it, Donald Trump.
So I figured it out one day. But if you go back and watch the first Trump translator, I don't think it's anywhere near as close as like my more recent stuff. I had some Trump impression stuff that I did back that people still haven't discovered on my TikTok that I'm like, hey, that's not that good of an impression. But I want to start trying to work in more impressions. Like I've been working on other presidents throughout history and whatnot. I thought it would be fun to do a video of like, if presidents did this, and then you could leave it up. Like the first thought I had was like presidents doing crowd work, you know, so you could be like, it's great to see everyone. Did you come here together? Are you dating? Is it a lot of people are dating, you know? And like, so just the nuances of those personalities is going to be, he says something and then he freestyles a little bit, but he doesn't actually do much with it. Yeah. And then like, you know, just like have his picture and it's like Trump doing crowd work, you know, and then like,
I think you could get into Obama. Not that you got to workshop it now, but he has such a distinct voice. I think you can get there.
Give it a little bell. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that everybody was able to make it here today. I did not tell jokes or what, you know what I mean? And then, Obama, he has that like specific cadence. Yeah. Now, okay, so what we want to say here is, and just like
Jill and I were in the.
I'm gonna do the Bill Clinton point with my thumb, and nobody knows why. And like, it's like Biden just like just like leave it at that. Or like, George W. Bush, you got to do the little shoulder laugh thing.
Oh my gosh! There you go. You got 20 minutes right there, just presidents talking to each other.
You know what you look like. Just like roast somebody.
Yeah, he's a roast comic. I look like your mama.
It's not.
it's so what I respect impressions so much because I've done silly voices and I do that but man, being able to emulate somebody is, and what you said, it's the misdirect because you don't. Yeah. No spoiler. Anyone who wants to see Matt King, it is not. You don't lead with the the impression. So for us, it was so surprising because we knew your 5 minutes you were working on, and you just threw it in, and we were like, we had no idea you had this in the can, and that is so fun. Not like you're not necessarily ready for it.
It's also terrifying because even if you're really good at an impression like that, I was just trying to fast imitate things there. That I was by no means saying I have a great Barack Obama, because I've honestly been working on that one. But even when you've been working on it and then you go 5 minutes even of talking about other stuff, and then you're like, okay, now how do I gotta slip back into this without drawing attention to it. But I've done so much of the Trump that I could just kind of go into it and come back out of it and go right back into it just like that and back into my own voice.
It's the hands too. You got to have the whole body.
You got to turn the sideways. You got to lean a little bit.
Again, we may as well just add him on the tag for this episode at this point. But Gillis had such a good point where he talks about different versions of Trumps where he's like, I can do rally Trump, but other people can do press conference Trump. I think you are such a the NBC interview, he's sitting in the chair slumped over with the dim light and he's just talking and it's just going back and forth. It feels like it's.
A lot of people were saying I was booed at the Knicks game. That's not true. They were saying USA. They were saying USA, and it sounded. You see what I did? It sounds like when you say that, it sounds like a lot of people think it sounds like
it's actually you are doing too well.
Yeah, you're saying boo. It sounds like boo, but that's not what they were saying. They were very happy to see me. They love me in New York City. I'm from New York City, and they love me there. They always have. And the liars and the fakes and the frauds at the mainstream media will tell you that they don't like me. They'll tell you, and they do. I gotta tell you, they love me. And you just talk to anyone from New York, just not anyone that's stupid or an idiot, and they'll tell you that they love me. That's what they'll say.
Your ability to pop into it so seamlessly and knowing who you are is so funny that it. I was gonna say if we were at a lack of time, I was about to ask Trump, would you rather's? And to get his response at this point, but I think I would rather not do either. Those both sound stupid and like a waste of time. I don't know if you know, I'm the most powerful man on the earth right now. I'm the president of the United States, the ruler of the entire free world. President Trump, would you prefer to save Harambe or stop the COVID pandemic?
What a dumb question that was. Now, why would you say something like that? Harambe. Everyone was you remember Harambe was a gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo, which is a wonderful zoo. A lot of people don't like zoos because they don't want to put them in the cages. But I like them being in the cages because when they're in the cages, they're not attacking me. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I couldn't beat up a silverback gorilla. Obviously, I've done that several times in my life. But I don't want to have to do that.
What's funny about that, what you just did, or on top of a ton of things, is to go back to a joke I wish I could get to work even better, but it's so testy, is that idea of the president having the ideations and the goals of a sixth grader.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing, the way, at least you can tell me if you're wrong, but it sounds like you didn't read the book report and you just got to hit the word count and you're presenting, and that has to be the headspace you're in when you do that, because it is.
What I'm looking at is when he's standing at the when he's at a rally, he's standing at the podium, and he turns and he reads one teleprompter over there, and then he goes back and he reads the other teleprompter, and then he reads it, and he does that, and he recaps what he just read off there, and he makes it. He tries to make it his own, just like you try to do when you're trying not to get dinged for plagiarizing an entire book report. You change up and you say very, or you say really, really, or something like that.
Yeah, it's when your friend gives you your homework and you say, hey, just change it a little bit.
And that's what, when Shane Gillis was talking about doing his, he's like, what Trump will do is he'll say a thing, and then he'll go back and talk about him saying the thing. He'll walk in and be like, wow, what a big room. I walked in, I said, wow, what a big room. And it's he does do that. He does do that a lot.
But these guys are no good.
Yeah, there's a little bicycle gang.
Oh, look, hoodlums.
What was I'm trying to think of how I was gonna wrap that up. Yeah, I don't know. So, but that's
hey, man,
like I said, it's Adderall o'clock.
I think that's a good way to go out. I think you, I don't know. I enjoyed talking the comedy and the inception. I'm sorry if I derailed.
Yeah, it was
talk
fun.
About my up and comings to it. But I mean,
that's what we wanted to get to here. And I didn't put any notes down of anything to like actually cover or anything like that. And I think we hit all the high points and everything. And yeah, it's late, but so that's the end of the podcast. This is Chris Pace. You can see him.
I am on Instagram and TikTok on Chris Pace Comedy. You can follow me both there. I will be featuring for Matt King this Friday, which won't matter because the episode will be out. So if you watch it afterwards, sorry you missed it. But I'm around. I'm at open mics and different shows around the Akron, Cleveland area.
And that's it. So now you know, dude. Here's what happened.
Dude, here's what happened!